You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
What a woman. What a presence. I may not recall the first time I saw many of my favorite stars of stage and screen perform, but I remember very well the first time I laid eyes on Lauren Bacall. I was 19 or 20, living in New York City, the same town that Bacall is from. And I was watching a lot of classic movies in those days on a local channel, similar to TCM, but not quite as good, obviously. Well, one day it aired a film called Key Largo. I wasn't familiar with this one, but I certainly knew the stars in it. Humphrey Bogart and Edward G. Robinson, so I thought, why not? I'll give it a shot. But then I was blindsided. I saw this face, this magnetic, proud stare that just stopped me. My goodness, who the hell is that? It was Lauren Bacall. Even in the role of a woman who's nearly given up on life, she had a smoldering presence that was palpable, undeniable, and riveting. There were 4 veteran performers in the picture: Bogey, Robinson, Claire Trevor, and Lionel Barrymore, but I couldn't take my eyes off Bacall. It's no wonder her publicists dubbed her the look for To Have and Have Not, her film debut in 1944. Now, to be completely honest, I haven't seen every single one of her films, so there are certainly greater authorities on her work, but I would argue that no one was more smitten, more fully arrested upon first glance of Lauren Bacall than I was.
Thanks.
Okay, maybe not no one. I suppose Humphrey Bogart was struck even harder by her. I understand that it was pretty close to love at first sight when they met. I mean, you can see it right there on screen in To Have and Have Not. These were 2 professionals falling deeply and irrevocably in love with each other right in front of our eyes. Any kind of believable chemistry on camera is difficult to achieve, but to recreate what they had is nearly impossible. It really is like catching lightning in a bottle. And Bacall, with her sassy and brash attitude, was the perfect conduit
Oh, I like that.
of an electric sensuality between them.
Except for the beard. Why don't you shave and we'll try it again.
And it carried over in her next picture with Bogart, The Big Sleep.
I like that.
This was a different role for Bacall,
I'd like more.
a more challenging one at that. It was a complex part in an inordinately complex story. She had to play cold, calculating, and coy, and yet mysterious and sexy enough to attract the world-weary eye of Bogart's private investigator, Philip Marlowe. She wasn't a femme fatale in this one, but she had to play it like she could have been. Bacall makes you believe she could be bad with a slinky feline grace that is so potent, the double entendres purr.
Got a touch of class, but I don't know how far you can go.
A lot depends on who's in the saddle. Go ahead, Marlowe. I like the way you work. In case you don't know it, you're doing all right.
As her career progressed, her star power became more obvious and assured in a wide range of films, from splashy comedies like How to Marry a Millionaire,
Well, if you don't marry him, you haven't caught him, he's caught you.
to the kind of highly stylized melodramas that only Douglas Sirk could make.
Pardon me if I seem to be brushing you out of my hair.
One thing that's been a constant is her bedrock reputation as a pretty tough gal. One who knows what she wants and just how to get it. She has maintained a real command of herself and the roles she's playing. Perhaps it's her brassy New York City attitude. Or maybe it's that gutsy female tenor voice of hers that speaks with an admirable independence and confidence in whatever role or situation she's in.
Okay, dear. What's for dinner?
Glory Shannon!
For dinner?
That assurance was never more obvious than when she made the comedy Designing Woman, co-starring her good friend Gregory Peck in 1957. While Bogey was at home, suffering from the cancer that would soon claim his life, Bacall gave a sparkling comedic performance, looking radiant in the wardrobe designed by Helen Rose. She stayed focused and on the mark, despite what was happening at home. That's the sign of a true professional, and a fearless one, too. Most movie stars are just exaggerated personalities, but I think she transcended that limitation. The film world is a funny world, very visual, full of beautiful faces. That's one of the things that keeps us watching, I guess. The camera certainly loved Bacall, but she went beyond that idolatry. It was more than just being part of a cult of personality for her. It was about doing something meaningful, with purpose and authenticity. She wanted something more, something compelling and real. Tangible stuff, tough and tender, that you can feel and hold. She wanted it, and she got it. Bogey once said of his baby, "She's a real Joe. You'll fall in love with her like everybody else." Don't I know it? For Turner Classic Movies, I'm Kelsey Grammer.
Join us this month as we celebrate Lauren Bacall, whose sultry presence and husky voice created an incomparable leading lady. Wednesday nights beginning at 8 p.m., only on Turner Classic Movies.